Most people are not getting dumber because they lack intelligence. They are getting mentally weaker because of the habits they repeat every single day without noticing. But what if a few simple behaviors could sharpen your thinking, improve your memory, and make you mentally stronger every week without needing talent, high IQ, or expensive courses? If this is already changing the way you think, pause for 1 second and leave a comment with the habit you need to improve the most. And if you want more deep psychological and self-improvement content like this, subscribe now because the next few minutes may completely change your mindset.
Most people believe intelligence grows through massive effort, long study sessions, or rare moments of inspiration. But the brain does not truly change during occasional bursts of motivation. It changes through repetition. The small actions you perform every single day quietly shape the way you think, react, learn, and solve problems. That is why habits matter far more than motivation. Motivation disappears quickly, but habits operate automatically, even when you do not feel inspired. A person who reads 10 pages every day for a year will become mentally stronger than someone who reads 3 books in 1 weekend and then stops for months. Intelligence is not built in intensity, it is built in consistency. Your brain is constantly adapting to whatever you repeatedly expose it to. If your daily routine is filled with short videos, endless scrolling, distractions, and constant noise, your attention span slowly weakens. Your mind becomes trained to seek stimulation instead of depth. But when you repeatedly practice focus, reflection, reading, problem-solving, and curiosity, your brain adapts in the opposite direction. Neural pathways become stronger, concentration improves, memory sharpens, thinking becomes clearer and faster over time. This is why even tiny habits have enormous long-term effects. Writing down one new idea every day may seem insignificant in the moment, but after months, your brain becomes more observant and analytical. Spending 15 minutes learning a skill every day may feel slow, but eventually that consistency compounds into expertise. Most people quit because daily progress feels invisible, yet invisible progress is often the most powerful kind. The mind develops quietly before results become obvious externally. Small habits also remove the pressure that causes many people to fail. When a goal feels too large, the brain resists it. But simple actions feel manageable. Reading 1 page is easy. Thinking deeply for 5 minutes is easy. Asking one thoughtful question is easy. Over time, these behaviors become automatic patterns that require less mental effort. What once felt difficult becomes natural. The smartest individuals are rarely the ones who rely on bursts of energy or temporary discipline. They build systems that guide their behavior daily. They understand that every repeated action is training the brain to become either sharper or weaker. Your future intelligence is hidden inside the routines you repeat when nobody is watching. Most people believe becoming smarter means learning more information. But intelligence is not only about what you know. It is also about what you allow into your mind. A person can spend hours consuming content every day and still feel mentally exhausted, distracted, and unfocused, because their attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. Truly intelligent people understand something powerful that most people ignore. Focus is one of the most valuable mental resources in the modern world. The ability to protect your attention has become more important than the ability to access information, because information is everywhere. But deep concentration is becoming rare. Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, every moment of mindless scrolling trains the brain to lose focus faster. The human mind was not designed to switch tasks every few seconds, yet most people wake up and immediately overload themselves with stimulation.
They check messages while watching videos, scroll while eating, and think while distracted by constant noise. Over time, the brain adapts to this pattern. Concentration weakens, patience disappears, deep thinking becomes difficult because the mind becomes addicted to quick stimulation. Smart people operate differently. They deliberately create space for uninterrupted thought. They understand that deep focus allows the brain to process information more effectively, form stronger memories, and generate better ideas. This is why many highly intelligent individuals protect certain parts of their day from distractions. They limit unnecessary noise. They reduce digital interruptions. They give full attention to one task at a time instead of scattering their mental energy everywhere. There is also a hidden psychological advantage to focus. When your attention is controlled by external distractions, your thoughts become reactive instead of intentional. You stop thinking deeply because your mind never stays still long enough to explore ideas properly. But when you protect your focus, your thinking becomes sharper and more organized. You begin noticing details others miss. Your creativity improves because the brain finally has enough silence to connect ideas together. Most people underestimate how much mental energy is wasted daily on meaningless stimulation. Even small distractions slowly drain cognitive power. This is why protecting your attention is not just about productivity. It is about preserving the quality of your mind itself. The people who become mentally strong are often not those who consume the most information, but those who learn how to control where their attention goes every single day. Most people think reading automatically makes them smarter, but that is not always true. A person can read hundreds of pages and still gain very little if their mind is only skimming words without truly processing them. Information alone does not create intelligence. Reflection does. The difference between an average reader and a mentally sharp person is not the number of books they finish, but the depth at which they think about what they consume. Reading without reflection is like pouring water into a container filled with holes. The information enters briefly, then disappears because the mind never took time to connect it to real understanding. Many people read passively. Their eyes move across the page, but their thoughts are somewhere else. They consume ideas quickly just to finish chapters or feel productive. But intelligent people approach reading differently. They pause often. They question what they read. They compare ideas to their own experiences. They think about whether they agree or disagree. This process forces the brain to become active instead of passive. The moment you begin interacting mentally with information, learning becomes deeper and more permanent. Reflection is what transforms knowledge into wisdom. Without reflection, facts remain disconnected pieces of information. But when you stop and think deeply, your brain begins creating relationships between ideas. You suddenly understand not only what something means, but why it matters. This is where mental growth truly happens. A single paragraph reflected upon deeply can change the way a person thinks more than an entire book consumed mindlessly. Another reason reflection matters is because modern life trains people to consume information rapidly. Social media, short videos, and endless content have conditioned many minds to move quickly from one idea to the next without absorbing anything fully. Attention spans weaken, and people mistake consumption for understanding. But true intelligence often grows slowly. It requires silence, patience, and thoughtfulness. Intelligent minds spend time sitting with ideas instead of instantly chasing new stimulation. One powerful habit is writing down thoughts after reading something valuable. Even a few sentences of reflection strengthen memory and understanding because the brain is forced to organize information clearly. Asking simple questions also sharpens thinking. What did I learn? Why is this important? How can this apply to real life? These questions activate deeper levels of comprehension. The smartest readers are not the fastest readers. They are the ones who allow information to transform the way they think, observe, and understand the world around them. Curiosity is one of the most powerful mental habits a person can develop because it keeps the brain alive, flexible, and constantly growing. The moment people stop asking questions, their thinking slowly becomes limited by what they already know. Many individuals move through life on autopilot. They accept information without exploring it further. They repeat routines without wondering whether there is a better way. Over time, this creates mental stagnation. But curious people experience the world differently. Their minds are always searching, observing, analyzing, and learning from even ordinary situations. A curious mind refuses to stay passive. Instead of simply reacting to life, it investigates life. Curious people ask why people behave the way they do. They wonder how systems work. They explore ideas outside their comfort zone. This habit strengthens intelligence because the brain becomes trained to make connections between different forms of knowledge. The more connections the brain creates, the sharper and more creative thinking becomes. Curiosity also protects the mind from becoming emotionally and intellectually rigid. People who think they already know everything often stop growing. They become defensive when challenged because their identity becomes attached to being right. But curious individuals are comfortable admitting they do not know something. Instead of feeling threatened by new ideas, they become energized by learning. This openness allows continuous mental development throughout life. Another important aspect of curiosity is that it improves observation. Most people look at things without truly noticing them. They hear conversations without listening deeply. They experience situations without analyzing them. But curiosity forces the brain to pay attention. A curious person notices patterns, details, emotions, and behaviors that others overlook. This strengthens critical thinking and emotional intelligence at the same time. Curiosity also increases resilience during failure. When curious people make mistakes, they do not only feel frustrated, they become interested in understanding what went wrong. They ask questions instead of shutting down emotionally. This mindset transforms failure into learning. Every mistake becomes useful information instead of proof of weakness. One of the simplest ways to strengthen curiosity is by exposing yourself to unfamiliar ideas daily. Read about subjects outside your expertise. Listen to people with different perspectives. Ask deeper questions during conversations. Even small moments of curiosity train the brain to remain active and adaptable. The human brain thrives when it explores. Curiosity keeps thinking fresh because it prevents the mind from becoming trapped inside repetition and certainty. The people who continue growing intellectually throughout life are often the ones who never lose their desire to understand more about the world, other people, and themselves. Most people separate mental intelligence from physical health, as if the brain operates independently from the body. But the truth is far more powerful. Your brain is part of your body, and the way you treat your physical health directly affects how clearly you think, how well you remember information, how stable your emotions become, and how much mental energy you have throughout the day. Many people struggle with focus, motivation, and memory, not because they lack intelligence, but because their body is constantly exhausting their mind. Sleep is one of the clearest examples of this connection. A tired brain cannot function at its highest level. When sleep is poor, concentration weakens, emotional reactions become stronger, decision-making becomes impulsive, and memory formation suffers. You may notice this in your own life. After a night of poor sleep, even simple tasks feel mentally heavier. Thoughts become slower. Patience disappears faster.
The brain loses its sharpness because it never had enough time to recover properly. Intelligent people protect sleep because they understand that mental performance depends on restoration. Movement also plays a major role in cognitive strength. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, improves mood, reduces stress, and enhances learning ability. Even walking regularly can improve mental clarity because physical activity stimulates brain function. This is why many people suddenly find solutions to problems while walking or exercising. The brain works better when the body is active instead of stagnant for long periods. Food affects the mind in similar ways. Constant junk food, excessive sugar, and dehydration can make thinking cloudy and unfocused. The brain consumes enormous amounts of energy every day, and poor nutrition weakens its ability to function efficiently. Many people feel mentally drained, not because they worked too hard intellectually, but because their physical habits slowly reduce their cognitive energy over time. Stress management is equally important. Chronic stress keeps the nervous system overloaded, making it difficult to focus, process information, or think calmly. A stressed brain often operates in survival mode instead of thoughtful analysis. This is why practices like deep breathing, quiet reflection, proper rest, and physical movement improve not only emotional health, but also intelligence and mental performance. Highly intelligent individuals often understand that discipline toward the body creates strength within the mind. They do not see exercise, sleep, and healthy habits as separate from success or learning. They see them as the foundation that supports clear thinking and emotional control. A sharp mind is rarely built on top of constant exhaustion, neglect, and physical imbalance. Consistency is one of the most underestimated forces behind intelligence and personal growth, because most people are obsessed with fast results. They want dramatic transformation overnight. They wait for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect moment to begin changing their lives. But real mental growth rarely happens in sudden bursts. It happens quietly through repeated actions that seem small in the moment, but become powerful over time. The brain develops through repetition, not intensity. A person who improves slightly every day will eventually surpass someone who relies only on occasional effort. Many people fail because they underestimate the value of small progress. They read one chapter and expect immediate wisdom. They practice a skill for a few days and become frustrated when mastery does not appear quickly. What they do not realize is that intelligence compounds slowly. Just like physical training strengthens muscles gradually, mental discipline strengthens the brain through daily repetition. Every focused hour, every thoughtful decision, and every moment spent learning is creating invisible progress beneath the surface. Consistency also builds trust within yourself. When you repeatedly follow through on small commitments, your brain begins identifying you as someone who can improve and adapt. This changes your mindset completely. You stop depending on emotions to guide your actions because discipline becomes automatic. Intelligent habits no longer feel forced. They become part of your identity. There is another reason consistency is so powerful. It removes the emotional chaos that destroys progress. People who depend only on motivation often experience extreme highs and lows. One day they feel unstoppable, and the next day they quit entirely. But consistent people understand that growth is not emotional. Some days will feel productive. Other days will feel slow and frustrating. Yet they continue anyway. This stability allows long-term improvement to happen without interruption. The brain responds strongly to repeated behavior patterns. If you consistently read, think deeply, solve problems, and challenge yourself, your cognitive abilities slowly strengthen. Your concentration improves, your memory becomes sharper, your understanding deepens naturally over time. At first, the changes may feel invisible,
but eventually the difference becomes undeniable. What once felt difficult starts feeling effortless because the mind has adapted through repetition. Most successful and intelligent people are not necessarily more talented than everyone else. Often they simply stayed consistent long enough for their habits to reshape their abilities. While others stopped during periods of boredom or difficulty, they continued improving quietly every day. A sharper mind is rarely built through one powerful moment. It is built through hundreds of ordinary days where a person chooses growth even when the results cannot yet be seen. In the end, becoming smarter is not about being born different. It is not about having a higher IQ, perfect opportunities, or endless motivation. Intelligence is shaped by the habits you repeat every single day. The thoughts you entertain, the information you consume, the way you protect your focus, the questions you ask, the care you give your body, and the consistency you maintain all slowly build the person you are becoming. Most people wait for transformation to happen instantly, but real mental growth is quiet. It happens when you choose to read instead of scroll, when you reflect instead of react, when you stay curious instead of comfortable, when you train your mind even on days when no one notices your progress. These small actions may feel insignificant in the moment, but over time, they completely reshape the way you think, learn, and understand the world. Never underestimate the power of daily discipline. A sharper mind is not created overnight. It is created through repeated choices that strengthen your focus, expand your awareness, and challenge you to grow beyond your current limits. Every day you are either training your brain to become stronger or allowing distractions and unhealthy patterns to weaken it. The beautiful truth is that intelligence is not fixed. Your mind can evolve. Your thinking can deepen. Your awareness can expand. And the process begins with simple habits practiced consistently. 1 year from now, you will either look back and realize your habits made you mentally stronger, wiser, and more focused, or you will realize distraction quietly stole your potential. The decision is being made every single day by the routines you choose to repeat. So protect your mind, feed it carefully, challenge it constantly, stay curious, stay disciplined, and remember, the smartest version of yourself is not something you discover. It is something you build.